I need some shades on in this bitch. Just realized I look crazy as hell. Where my Prada's at? Bust down, Tatiana. Let me see you bust down. Damn, I don't know where my Pradas went. Oh, here they go. What they doing over here? Let's get into today's podcast. What's the deal, man? What's the deal? Check. Should have put my glasses on before I started. All right. Oh, I'm kind of hot. God damn. God damn. God damn. Let's get it started. Who knows what podcast number this is? Let's get it started. I'm gonna just get right into this one. I ain't gonna waste too much time. Okay, 169. I think you might be right, good fellas. I think you might be right. Let's see. Oh no, 168. I think. Let me see something. The last one we did was stop going after women that don't want you. Diminish your stop going after women that don't want you. Yeah, we're 168. You guys are a tad bit too fast. But let's get it started. Drop your ones if you're ready to get into it, because I am. And I'm about to just get started. I don't feel like waiting because I want to work out. I want to put in some work. I got to be the best. Not just better than the rest, but the best. All right. Let's do the damn thing. Well, 168. All right. All right, guys. Podcast number 168. Today we're going to be talking about why ambitious women fail. Right. And one of the last relationships, I want to say relationship because she wasn't officially my girlfriend, but it felt like it. It was close to it. And I think one of the contributing factors as to why it failed, she was acting as if she were the man, and it didn't dawn on me until now, because the overly ambitious, the being too busy for me, the being too busy for her man, I think that was a contributing factor, because we saw a lot of situations where she wanted me to come with her, and your average man would, and I didn't really think it was too much of a problem at the time, the way it was set up, right? She got to eat for free. She got to go to restaurants. She had a good following on Instagram. I encouraged her to chase her dreams and do that more often. And what happened was, um, it was other things other than that. But I think for me personally, that contributed, and that kind of made me just kind of push her away a bit, even if it was unconsciously. But overly ambitious women fail, and there are lots of evidence for that. And just using common sense, and also some statistics that we have. So let's get into that, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So if you know how the podcast goes, we always play a song and then we just get right into it. So that's what I'm going to do right now. This is Jo Say It Ain't, and right after this, we're going to get into the podcast. It's going to be a good one for the books.
Wish you could get. You know what I'm saying? We ain't fucking around out here, man. Fuck you thought it was, nigga. You know how we do it, nigga. We doing back-to-back shit. Ain't no stopping, ain't no motherfucking breaks, nigga. This shit ain't for the weak. So tell them niggas, watch out. I'm gon' blow, ain't depending on them niggas. Yeah, I'm gon' roll. I ain't even tripping about the lies being told. That's what happens when you poppin' niggas say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. Got the city on fire, but I'm still too cold. Always tell it like it is, yeah, you know I'm too bold. But you still sleeping on me, niggas say it ain't so. Say it ain't so, got it figured out. Tried to be the nice guy, but now I'm on a different route. Probably got your girlfriend in my crib, just trying to dick her down. And best believe I kick her out if she don't plan on putting out. Yeah, cause I'm a dog, I'm a fucking dog. Got a lot of bitches, but I'm always trying to fuck some more. Yeah, so what you want from a nigga? I done found out the game, and they don't be loving niggas. I'm good, I'm all set. The way I do my own thing, yeah, they all vex. Out here calling shots like a motherfucking rap. Whole time y'all was playing checkers, I was playing chess. Man, this shit a mess. I'm gon' blow, ain't depending on them niggas. Yeah, I'm gon' roll. I ain't even tripping about the lies being told. That's what happens when you poppin' niggas say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. Got the city on fire, but I'm still too cold. Always tell it like it is. Yeah, you know I'm too bold, but you still sleeping on me, niggas. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so that I'm back, nigga. Tell Shorty that I'm in. She know he a whack, nigga. Doing all that yapping. He just hating cause my stack's bigger. Hit it from the back. I'm the one that got her ass bigger. Yeah, and I'm a boss. I'm a fucking boss. Feeling like I'm Kelly, baby. I ain't never took a loss. Nah, and I made y'all with the cross. Putting on for my city, and I put that on the cross. So I'm good. I'm all set. Who's real, who's fake? Man, let's put them to the test. I ain't worried about a thing, baby. I ain't never stressed. Ben thought I was that nigga. Man, I must confess. Bitch, I been the best. I'm gon' blow, ain't depending on them niggas. Yeah, I'm gon' roll. I ain't even tripping about the lies being told. That's what happens when you poppin' niggas say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. Got the city on fire, but I'm still too cold. Always tell it like it is. Yeah, you know I'm too bold, but you still sleeping on me, niggas. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't.
All right, guys, that was Jo Say It Ain't. So let's get into today's topic. So I was doing some research, and I had stumbled upon an article where a girl was basically talking about why her being overly ambitious hurt her in relationships. And I'm not sure if this is somebody's personal blog. The girl name is Jareen Imam, so I'm assuming this is a Muslim girl. Just assumption. I could be wrong. Now it says, when I turned 30, I started getting a lot of unsolicited theories from friends and family about why I'm still unmarried. These theories range from you're too career oriented, you're too busy. At first, I didn't pay much attention to the people's theories until I started dating again. Many people I went on dates with, would say similar things after the first few weeks of dating, such as it seems like you are going to be too busy. It seems like you're not going to have enough time for me, or I'm not looking for someone ambitious. It was clear there was a very specific quality about me that turned men off, and that was my ambition. I used to think it was a good when someone said, "You're so ambitious," but whether you're navigating the arena of love or climbing the corporate ladder, being seen as too ambitious can be seen as a bad thing, especially for women. Now, I'll put the article, the link in the bio, and this made me, because she basically just goes to talk on about her experience and her degrees and all this stuff that she has, right? So it made me go on to look at some of the studies on how men feel about ambitious men. Now, you guys know one of my favorite sites to go on is psychologicalscience.org, because they give a lot of understanding, and they give a lot of good case studies dealing with human psychology, human relationships, and understanding how humans think about certain topics. So when going in the study, right, it was said there were, I think it was maybe over 200 women that they asked. And they said, how do you feel about ambitious men? Now, I already give studies that women say they are more attracted to ambitious men. Now, amongst these 200, maybe about 25 to 20%, it says 25 to 20% of women didn't like a man that was overly ambitious. Now, this is a small few, right? And then half of that 20 to 25% weren't getting any of their bills paid. So, usually when a man is overly ambitious, he's striving towards a goal that will make him financially free or bring him a different level of income. This way, usually mostly ambitious men take care of their ladies, take care of their women, or take care of their wives. But if you're not experiencing that at all, then it may be a bit of a problem, right? But the other 80 to 75% of women love, they're more attracted to an ambitious man, right? And obviously this was a study that was taken in the United States. Um, but when you asked men the same study, an overwhelming an overwhelming 78% said that they didn't like overly ambitious women, which I thought was kind of short. I thought it would be a little higher. And some of the reasons were because when you prioritize your career over marriage, it becomes a problem. Why? Well, a lot of men were saying because a woman wants to, focus on her career and not building a family. A woman doesn't necessarily want to have kids. A woman's not necessarily ready for kids. Or you have to build first before you get a family. And if you're not willing to do that, that's a strong indicator that maybe this person's not ready for a family at all. And it takes time. It takes time and dedication to a person to make sure you want to build a family, to make sure you want to have kids. Some people start a lot faster than others, and that's okay. But a lot of men believe, they want their time. Every time she hits him up, every time he hits her up, she shouldn't be working. She shouldn't be too busy. She shouldn't be being overly ambitious, because men are not going to like this. And you're going to run into a lot of problems if you're too busy, especially men that know their worth. Yes, you can be a pretty girl, or you can be if you're a half decent looking girl, but not super pretty, then it's like, okay, well, you know what? I'm not really looking for that right now. I've done it, and I know how to spot it amongst other things, and it has become a big filtering process for me. If that woman isn't willing to sacrifice to me for me, if she isn't willing to show me that she wants me, because this is my standard, and understand my standards on another level, right? But what I'm trying to convey to you guys is, when you are trying to consider somebody for marriage, these are not the woman that you want to go for, because she's not focused. And then one of the biggest reasons is about 50% of those 70%, 75% of men said that they didn't want a woman trying to be the man, right? I've even had girls that I've talked to now, a girl, no, not a girls, but in particular person told me that, her ex would snatch her out of bed and yank her up because she was working so hard and he didn't get to spend time with her. Now, this is a bit crazy. This is not something you do, right? You don't abuse your woman because she's so busy. You just leave her, right? So, because he was like, oh, you think you the man in this relationship, you know, and if an overwhelming 50 something percent of men said that, and then that correlated with something she told me, it's like, wow, well, clearly men don't like overly ambitious women. So this is what some studies are saying. This is what some of the surveys are saying. And That's what basically what was being said in that article that I read. And I read a whole bunch of articles like that where women get a hard time and they get a lot of pushback and turn off a lot of men when they're overly ambitious. And now the silly women may say, oh well, um how come men can't handle it? They can't handle me. That's not what's going on here. That's not the case here. The case isn't that he can't handle you. The case is that he's not going to tolerate you. He's not going to put up with you. That's not something he's going to put up with. That's not something he's going to tolerate. Especially if this man has experienced women before that is not overly ambitious, that will not dedicate her time to her job. It's just a very unnatural thing, right? And most women, they're not going to do that anyway. But the women that do that and think that they're going to focus on their career and put their stuff to the side, that they're going to be happy, and then have men going to accept that. The problem is they're replicating and modeling themselves after men, but that's not what men, straight men, want in women. They don't want an overly ambitious woman. That's not something that men want, right? And the crazy part is women do this and they think that, oh, their career and them chasing money and them chasing their career is going to matter to men. And they come to the table, they come to the dating arena, and they come to the dating table thinking that's a bargaining chip. Men do not give a flying F about your career for a multitude of reasons, right? We can't spend your money. So an overly ambitious woman is making tons of money. Let's say if she's making 100,000 a year, she falls into the 15% of households in the United States, which is still a very small percentage. Okay, so you're making $100,000 a year, and then you come to the table to tell me, what does that mean? I can't spend your money. Can I say, all right, well, give me your money and I'm just going to spend it and go buy stuff as you're working very hard for it? Absolutely not. Even if you have a truly super submissive woman who is like that, eventually she's going to say, I'm working all hard and all you doing is taking my money and doing whatever you. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Right? You're not going to buy a man a house. You're not going to buy a man, you know, $40,000 watches. Now, you may have some exceptional women that may put her name in a car for a man. She might put a down payment on a car, right? Because I've seen women that do it. I've had women do it to me. Well, try to do it. I've never had a woman buy me a car. They try to, and I know men who get it done. But that was earlier on in life when I was in a worse position. I was in the worst position I've ever been. And these men that do allow that are men that either have really bad credit and they're going to pay the bill. So they just tell her to put it in her name and then they get the car. Or are men that have absolutely no pride, no morals or ethics. And and you may not say it's not necessarily a lack of morality to do it, because I'm pretty sure there's always exceptions. But in most cases, majority of cases, women are not going to buy you cars. They're not going to buy you houses. They're not going to buy you big ticket items anyway. So what is your money really doing for me? Yeah, you have a great career and a PhD and a associates, whatever degree you have, but men don't really care about that because that's not something we value the most in women. We value your beauty, right? We value women's fertility, if they can have kids, if they're healthy, right? We value their sexuality, right? How they appeal to us. Not saying that we just see women as objects, because there are women that have things that they can offer besides that. But outside of us, those specific things, your career and your money is not going to be something huge. And if you do, you're attracting a very weak man, a weak man that's going to say, oh, I want your money, I want your things, I want all those things from you, and I'm going to rely and depend on that. These are very super weak men. These are not the men that you should be dating. These are not the men that you should be taking serious if you're a female, right? And that's what women don't understand, you know. And then and the one thing that we hear the most is women say, well, if I'm dating a man, he has to be making just as much money or more. So if, let's say if you're falling to the 15%, we're not going to say 1%, because there's less than, you know, 0.1% of women fall into the 1%, right? But let's say if you're making $100,000 a year and you say, well, I want a man that's going to make just as much or just as much or more. So now you're talking about a 15% of the population. Automatically, your gap of men that you can choose have gotten significantly smaller. And then you bring that to the bar, you bring that to the table as if that's a bargaining chip when that man doesn't give a hell about what you make. So all your principles, all the things that you thought you were bringing to the table, like I'm good, I'm hardworking, I got an education, I make good money, I got my own place. Guess what? Doesn't matter, especially if the man's making $100,000 or more, because he can get a woman that looks just as good or even better, and then she's not super career focused, and he can take care of her and himself, and then some kids, and she can also take care of the kids. He doesn't have to worry about her working and being overly ambitious. That's not what's going on here. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And me, if you get someone like me who has a certain standard for myself and has some pride and say, okay, you making $100,000 a year, okay, that's cool. I don't want anything from you. Yeah, there's women that buy me things. You can buy me things, but I'm not asking it from you. I won't ask you for anything. I'm not going to be spending all day with you anyway. There's nothing your money can do for me. And most women, you gonna buy me a car? You're gonna buy me a house? Yeah, there's exceptions. If I was dating some billionaire, if I was dating Rihanna, but then even still, I'm going to be ambitious. Still, I'm going to chase my career. Still, I'm going to try to strive to make just as much or more than that woman. I'm not going to sit there and be complacent. The point is, when women make your average woman, when you make crazy amounts of money, your dating pool gets smaller. And if you look at Rihanna, she's dating ASAP Rocky. He ain't got nowhere near as much money as her. Yeah, he's a millionaire, but still, there's still a big gap. She's basically a billionaire. She had to settle for something. But even still, he's a millionaire. So the point is, when women, overly ambitious women, they put themselves in a trap, and it's a trap held by society. It's a trap that society, in this narrative society, that puts them in, right? And it puts them in this trap because most women who do have careers like that, most women who do make a lot of money like that, they're effed up in the head, and they think that because they make a lot of money like that, that's a bargaining chip. They have room to debate. They have room to talk about it as if they're going to get whatever they want. No, because the type of men you're going to get, if you are in your feminine nature, which a lot of them aren't, they don't care about that, or they're not going to choose you anyway, because you spend so much time focusing on your career and putting off marriage and your prime years that now you're in your 30s and you say, well, yeah, I want a man of this caliber, and you don't experience a whole bunch of men. Now your standards are through the roof, but those men don't want you. They want the young you. There was actually an article. It was an old article that I think the New York Magazine had produced. Here it goes. It says 20 years later, marriage study is still relevant, right? It says um, too late for prime Prince Charming. Too late for Prince Charming, right? And it goes on to say that was the cover of a story in Newsweek magazine 20 years ago this Friday. The magazine reported on a study that indicated college educated women over the age of 40 have less than a 3% chance of getting married, leading to the famous more likely to be killed by a terrorist than find a mate line. 2 decades later, this still remains relevant. And which is so crazy that women nowadays, and that was before, and women nowadays, they think that this is going to serve them. They think that this is going to serve them, but somehow women still fall into this trap, right? And I think that women need to really seriously consider this. But the big problem is, why can't you have a family and then still pursue your career? Why can't you be married and then still pursue your career? Right? And don't get me wrong, you have some promiscuous women who just want to just do what they want to do. But I'll tell you what, even the people who say they're okay with dying alone, nobody wants to be alone. It's cap. It's cap. It's big cap. But anyway, guys, we're gonna end this podcast off. I apologize. I've been coughing a lot. I still got a train. We got a fight coming up. It's gonna be in PA. I think Pennsylvania. I'm not sure. Just guys, make sure you follow me on Instagram, subscribe to YouTube, and make sure you run up the likes. And the big problem is I've been kicked off TikTok for a few days, and I know a large core of my audience comes from there. And the problem is when you don't follow me on other platforms, you get to miss out, right? You get to miss out. So anyway, we're going to end this podcast off. I'll look to see if there's any questions after. But anyway, this is J.O. Say It Ain't. This is podcast number 168. And let's just play this and end this one off.
We copping that shit you wish you could get. You know what I'm saying? We ain't fucking around out here, man. Fuck you thought it was, nigga. You know how we do it, nigga. We doing back-to-back shit. Ain't no stopping, ain't no motherfucking breaks, nigga. This shit ain't for the weak. So tell them niggas, watch out. I'm gon' blow, ain't depending on them niggas. Yeah, I'm gon' roll. I ain't even tripping about the lies being told. That's what happens when you poppin' niggas say it ain't so. Say it ain't. Ain't so. Got the city on fire, but I'm still too cold. Always tell it like it is. Yeah, you know I'm too bold, but you still sleeping on me. Niggas say it ain't so. Say it ain't. Ain't so, got it figured out. Tried to be the nice guy, but now I'm on a different route. Probably got your girlfriend in my crib just trying to dig it down. And best believe I kick her out if she don't plan on putting out. Yeah, cause I'm a dog, I'm a fucking dog. Got a lot of bitches, but I'm always trying to fuck some more. Yeah, so what you want from a nigga? I done found out the game and they don't be loving niggas. I'm good, I'm all set. The way I do my own thing, yeah, they all vex. Out here calling shots like a motherfucking rap. Whole time y'all was playing checkers, I was playing chess. Man, this shit a mess. I'm gon' blow, ain't depending on them niggas. Yeah, I'm gon' roll. I ain't even tripping about the lies being told. That's what happens when you poppin' niggas say it ain't so. Say it ain't. Ain't so. Got the city on fire, but I'm still too cold. Always tell it like it is. Yeah, you know I'm too bold, but you still sleeping on me. Niggas say it ain't so. Say it ain't. Ain't so that I'm back, nigga. Tell Shorty that I'm in. She know he a whack, nigga. Doing all that yapping. He just hating cause my stack's bigger. Hit it from the back. I'm the one that got her ass bigger. Yeah, and I'm a boss. I'm a fucking boss. Feeling like I'm Cali, baby. I ain't never took a loss. Nah, and I made y'all with the cross. Putting on for my city.